Welcome to You and Your Money. Today's episode features Jonathan Matthews, Associate Vice President and Wealth Advisor at WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors.
Everyone wants to create those great memories and check off the bucket list items, but they're also worried, are we going to have enough money saved for retirement? The good news is that with some good, solid financial planning and the strategies there, you don't have to choose one or the other. But I will say the sooner you start on those strategies, the better.
Now, what do you need to consider when you want to have your fun now, but enjoy retirement too?
Well, two things. Timing and prioritization is really where the rubber meets the road. For most people, first off, it seems obvious. It's often an overlooked reality, though, that not all savings goals are created equal. You have to define what you want and your needs and then rank them from the most to the least important. And then the next is your time horizon. How long do you have until the money needs to be used? That should fundamentally dictate how you approach saving and investing in order to reach those goals.
Well, that all makes sense in theory, but how do we do that in practice? Can you break that down for me?
Yeah, sure. Let's say that you're planning a trip with the family and you're going to Cape Cod in August. That's a short-term goal, just 2 months away. Compare that to retirement, which is 10, 20, 30 plus years away. That way you save for each is completely different. For the Cape Cod trip, you want to save money and you want it to be safe and accessible. You can't afford to lose 10% like the market when it drops a couple months ago on your vacation fund to a stock dip market 2 weeks before you leave. At the same time, it's best to keep it in an account where you can at least earn some decent interest until you need it. Maybe a high yield savings account, money market, something that offers interest rates that are better than a traditional savings account. But for retirement, that's where you can afford to take some more strategic risk and hopefully potentially higher returns. Over 20 to 30 years, the stock market has historically provided much better growth and, outperformed some of those what you would consider safer investments like a high yield savings account or money market account.
That makes sense. So it's almost like having different buckets for different goals?
Exactly. We actually recommend something called the bucket strategy. So if you think of it this way, you've got three main savings buckets. The first one is your emergency bucket. This is your 3 to 6 months of expense in cash and true emergencies. This is like your financial safety net, right? The second one is your short-term savings bucket. These are specific goals within the next 1 to 5 years. Maybe it's that summer vacation, a down payment on a house, paying for the wedding, down payment on a new home or a new car, something like that. The third is your retirement bucket. If you aren't planning to retire for another 10 or more years, this is where you can be more aggressive with high risk, higher growth investments because you have time on your side.
Now, for our listeners planning that big summer vacation as we speak, how do they make sure they're not sabotaging their long-term goals bucket by putting too much in the short-term bucket for a week at the beach?
Great question. The trick is to plan ahead for both. If you know you want to take a family vacation every summer, make that an annual line item in your budget. Set up automatic transfers to a vacation fund throughout the year. That vacation fund is one of the savings vehicles inside your short-term bucket. Here's a practical example. Let's say you want to spend $5,000 on a family vacation next June. If you start saving this money, that's roughly $415 a month you need to set aside. You put that in a high yield savings account, earn 4 to 5% right now, and you're all set for next year's trip plus a little extra money for spending.
And this doesn't have to impact retirement savings?
No, it doesn't, not necessarily. That's where we have a comprehensive financial plan that comes in. By mapping out a plan all the way through retirement, you know how much you're going to have available to set aside for those short-term goals while also feeling secure about the path to retirement.
Jonathan, it's one thing to make a plan. Isn't it another thing to carry it out?
That is the secret sauce, Wayne. And it's not really a secret at all. It's just persistence. Staying on top of your financial plan and making sure that you make adjustments as your income, life changes, the market changes. That way your plan's on track. On a day-to-day, there are many ways you can make the execution of your plan easier to do more consistently. One of the best ways to do that is to automate your savings. You have a retirement plan contribution automatically deducted from your paycheck or withdrawn from your checking account, for example. And you just make sure that that contribution is at least enough to fully take advantage of the employer match if they offer one.
All right, what about the short-term goals?
Right. So you'll want to just follow the same pattern for those. You set up that vacation fund we were talking about earlier as a separate high yield savings or money market account and automate transfers into the account each pay period as well. Same deal with any other short-term or long-term goals you might have. Choosing a savings or investment vehicle that has the right amount of risk for your time horizon, and then set those contributions to happen automatically before you even see that money in your checking account. It makes it much easier to stay disciplined and on track towards what you want to do in life, whether it's next year or 30 years from now.
What about people who feel like they're behind on retirement savings? Should they skip the vacation to catch up?
They would not be alone in that feeling. This is where we need to look at the bigger picture, Wayne. Life isn't just about the finish line, it's about the journey. You want to be financially secure in retirement, but you want to be able to enjoy life along the way. If someone is behind in their retirement savings, I'd rather see them find ways to increase their income or optimize their overall budget rather than cut out all enjoyment. Maybe they choose a vacation rental instead of a resort, or they explore closer to home destinations. If you're in a really tight spot where that vacation just isn't possible without sacrificing the emergency fund or dipping into retirement savings or other critical savings, then maybe it becomes a longer time horizon. You may not be able to take the big vacation next year, but you can start saving now in smaller increments and take it in 2 years instead. It'll take longer to get to that, but you'll still have the satisfaction of knowing you will enjoy it eventually. And the goal is to always be about finding that balance.
Speaking of balance, what role does age play in all this? Is the strategy different for someone in their 30s versus their 50s?
It certainly is. The age significantly impacts the strategy. That someone in their 30s might be more aggressive with their retirement investments, maybe 70 to 80% stocks, because they have decades to ride out market volatility. They also need to be realistic about life stages of expenses. They might be saving for that house down payment, planning the wedding, or thinking about starting a family. It's okay to be strategic about timing these goals. Someone in their 50s, on the other hand, they might need to be more conservative as they get closer to retirement. They might need to save a little bit smarter because they're in those peak earning years, and it could be a great time to maximize both retirement contributions and enjoy some of those bucket list experiences.
Good info. Now, before we wrap up, what's one key takeaway you'd like our listeners to remember?
One key takeaway, Wayne, I'd say the most important thing is to start with a plan. You don't have to choose between enjoying today and securing tomorrow. With the right strategy, those buckets that we talked about, you can do both. To all the listeners thinking about their summer plans, as you're doing those beach trips or mountain getaways, take a moment to think about your overall financial picture. Are you on track for retirement so that you can enjoy the experiences later in life as well? Do you have an emergency fund? If not, a small step today can make a huge difference over time.
For more information regarding wealth management and customized financial planning with WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors, please visit WHZwealth.com. WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors offer securities and advisory services through Commonwealth Financial Network, member FINRA SIPC, a registered investment advisor. Fixed insurance products and services offered through CES Insurance Agency. They practice at 697 Pomfret Street, Pomfret Center, Connecticut 06259, and 392A Merrow Road, Tolland, Connecticut 06084. They can be reached at 860-928-2341. WHZ Strategic Wealth Advisors do not provide legal or tax advice. The tenured financial services team strives to support clients in achieving their financial life goals while providing absolute confidence and unwavering partnership for life.